Eevee Community Day is taking place again this weekend in Pokemon Go on a 2-day event, which is something unusual. We're going to run through the details, bonuses, a full breakdown, and right at the end, we're going to discuss 1 or 2 pro tips to really help you guys maximize this event. This is Eevee Com Day with Go With Us. Let's get dates out of the way, guys. It's going to be taking place on 2 days, which is going to be this Saturday, July the 5th, as well as Sunday, July 6th, from 2 to 5 p.m. local time on both days, so that's 3 hours each. Now that that's out of the way, let's touch on our featured Com Day Pokemon, Eevee. Eevee is a fan favorite Pokemon originally coming from the Kanto region in Generation 1. If you guys didn't know, although there is no ways you don't, if you're watching this video, Eevee actually has 8 different evolutions, of which on this day, each evolution that we make is going to get a special move linked to that evolution. Let's run through that list very quickly. Firstly, if you catch an Eevee or hatch it on this day, it's going to know Last Resort. If we evolve Eevee into Vaporeon, it's going to know the charge attack Scald. Jolteon is going to know Zap Cannon. Flareon is going to know Superpower. Espeon is going to know Shadow Ball. Umbreon is going to know Psychic. Leafeon will learn Bullet Seed, which is a fast move. Glaceon will learn the charged attack Water Pulse, and Sylveon will learn the charge move Psyshock. But let's get those bonuses out of the way. The main bonus on this day is going to be quarter egg hatch distance, which we do have a pro tip, which we discussed a little bit later. Lure modules activated during this event will last for 3 hours, and the same goes for incense. Those will also last for 3 hours, but that does not include the daily incense. We can take snapshots during the community day to get a surprise for a total of, I believe, 5 different snapshot encounters with Eevee, which of course can be shiny. It's important to mentioning the shiny now, that the shiny rate on both these days is going to be 1 in 25 in that 3-hour time frame. A beautiful kind of white coat. It gets Eevee, really good shiny to go after. There's also certain limited time bonuses that are linked to the evolutions. Normally, if you wanted to get Espeon, for example, outside of this event, you would have to walk with Eevee as your buddy for 10 kilometers and evolve it during the day to get Espeon. But as opposed to walking 10 kilometers, in this time frame, you'll only have to walk 1 kilometer, and the same goes for Umbreon. Remember, you're only going to need to walk 1 kilometer with Umbreon, but remember to evolve it at night, because that's the only way you can get Umbreon, similar to the original games. And the same thing goes for Sylveon. Sylveon is definitely the most difficult Eeveelution to get in Pokemon Go. Normally, you would have to get 70 hearts with Eevee as your buddy, and then you would be able to evolve it. But on this day, you only have to get 7 hearts with Eevee as your buddy, and that will be able to trigger the evolution into Sylveon. Because we've got Espeon, Umbreon, and Sylveon out of the way, how do we get the other evolutions outside of this event? You would have to evolve Eevee around a Glacial Lure module to get Glaceon, and the same thing goes for Eevee around a Mossy Lure module if you want to get Leafeon. However, to get Jolteon, Flareon, or even Vaporeon, it is actually randomized. As you can see next to the evolution button, there's normally a question mark. However, there is one thing called the name trick for each evolution that can only be used once for each account. All you would need to do is rename the certain Pokemon, the specific names which we're going to put on screen right now to get the specific evolutions. So for example, if you wanted a Vaporeon guaranteed evolution, you would have to nickname it Rainer, and then Vaporeon will highlight as the option to evolve. If you wanted Jolteon, you're going to have to rename it Sparky. If you wanted Flareon, you're going to have to name it Pyro. If you wanted Espeon, you're going to need to use the name Sakura. For Umbreon, it's going to be Tamao. Leafeon, it's going to be Lene. For Glaceon, it's going to be Ri. And for Sylveon, it's going to be Kira. Again, the spelling will be on screen for you guys so you don't make a mistake. Again, you can only use this trick once. Pokestop showcases will be returning again, guys. Please remember to enter those. You get some premium rewards such as some lucky eggs, Stardust, and even more things like lure modules, for example. But more importantly, it's going to build you up towards that showcase platinum medal. We have Com Day themed field research going down, and of course the main reward is going to be Eevee. Please remember to screenshot this right now so you don't forget, but the hundo CP for Eevee coming from field research is actually going to be 459. I've managed to actually get 2 hundos this way because I did actually get both of these Eevees on separate events, but I've evolved one into an Umbreon and evolved the other into Sylveon because those are my specific favorite evolutions. Along with field research though, we can get some more Stardust, Great Balls, as well as Ultra Balls. And speaking of research, for a total cost of $2, there's going to be a paid timed research ticket for this specific Com Day. You're going to get 1 premium battle pass, 1 rare XL candy, additional encounters with Eevee, as well as its evolutions. Remember that 100% CP again for Eevee. And additionally, we can get 3 encounters with Eevee with the Delightful Days background. And it's very important to note that on this specific Com Day, you're going to get an increased chance at a shiny Eevee with the special background. If you manage to get that Delightful Days background, shiny Eevee as a hundo, that would be off the chain. But right now, how good are the evolutions in Pokemon Go? Let's look at PvP, for example. Guys, undoubtedly, the best two specific evolutions to use are going to be Umbreon as well as Sylveon. If we look in the Great League right now, Umbreon has a current ranking of 208, but this can change very quickly with a little meta shift, whether it be next season or the next. So please try and remember, low attack, high defense, high stamina for Eevee. The stats you want for Umbreon in the Great League is going to be a 0, 15, 15. Even in the Ultra League, it shines a little bit better currently with a current ranking of 178, and that's going to be with XL Candy. In the Ultra League, of course, you're going to want a hundo because Umbreon actually maxes out before the 2500 CP. It actually maxes out at level 50 at 2416 CP, and you could even best buddy this Pokemon to just take that CP a little bit higher. But the reason why it performs even better is because every single piece of that bulk is stacked into the Umbreon, which is why it does so well, especially defensively. Sylveon in the Great League is another one that's currently ranked 360, which again doesn't look really in the meta right now, but that can change very quickly. The best stats you're going to want there is going to be a 0, 15, 12. In the Ultra League, it has a current ranking of 233, and the best IV set you're going to want for Sylveon in the Ultra League is actually going to be a 0, 13, 15. But in the Master League, it actually performs best with a current ranking of 152 with that XL Candy, and believe me, because there's so many dragons in the Master League, Sylveon can be a really good surprise for everyone. Of course, in the Master League, just like it was for Umbreon in the Ultra League, you're going to want a hundo for that Sylveon. Now that we have PvP out of the way, which raid attackers of these evolutions are pretty good to use? Well, let's start off with Sylveon because we were just there. Guys, Sylveon right now is actually ranked 21 in the Fairy type category with Shadows, including Megas, and I think for a budget Pokemon, it's an incredible opportunity to try and get a good Sylveon. The other budget, really good raid attacker we would certainly focus on is actually going to be Glaceon. Glaceon in the Ice type category right now is ranked 18 with that Frost Breath and Avalanche combination. Again, a little bit of a glassy Pokemon, but the fact that it breaks into that top 20 again gives new players, for example, such a good Ice type Pokemon to use, especially if they're trying to build their raid attacking teams. So go after a Glaceon. If we look in the grass category, Leafeon is a little bit further down that list. It's currently ranked 43, but again, if you're trying to build a grass team, Leafeon might be a good place to start, especially for a budget counter. And the last decent one we would consider is using Jolteon in the electric type category, currently the 33rd best on the list, but again, amongst those Shadows as well as those Megas, a pretty solid outcome. But again, similar to that Flareon and Leafeon, a pretty glassy Pokemon, but if you don't have anything better, Jolteon could be a really good electric type to use as your starter team. Now that we know how good some of these evolutions are, what are some pro tips or some hidden tips that we can maximize during this event? Guys, remember, we're in the middle of the 9th anniversary event this weekend, which means the thing I really want you guys to focusing on is trading. Guys, two things connecting to trading. The first thing is that we can get an increased chance of getting lucky Pokemon in this 9th anniversary event. So you're going to catch a lot of shiny Eevees, for example. I want you guys to get with a best friend or even an ultra friend and trade as many Eevees or as many shiny Eevees as you can, even though you'll only be able to do 2 per day, because on a calm day, generally you get about 2 special trades. But in this particular event as well, you're going to get 2 special trades per day. That means 2 shiny Eevees, maybe with a Delightful Days background. That could be an incredible opportunity to get a shiny, lucky Delightful Days hundo. That would be incredible, and you would be one of the only people in the world that actually had it. The second thing we're going to look at is going to be the quarter egg hatch distance. Guys, every single time this calm day comes around, we make this tip because it's very, very underrated from a Stardust point of view. I want you guys to try and gather as many 12 kilometer eggs in your bag as possible. The reason why is that if you wait till this event, put these eggs on, I think in a super incubator, some of these are only taking about 2 kilometers to walk, which means hatching every single 12k on a star piece, you're going to get a huge Stardust bonus. And even from there, you could maybe spin stops to get 7 kilometer eggs in your bag if there's certain targets you want to get in that 7 kilometer egg pool. Guys, that is Eevee Calm Day. If you haven't powered up your Zamazenta or your Zacian from GoFest, please watch this video on the left. You guys have really, really enjoyed that, because believe me, both of these Pokemon could serve you very well, not just Zacian. We're going to leave it there. Go with us. Love you guys. Smash that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one, baby.